got a pocket and air was entering the pocket, that is, and well, the end was actually shaking. Air enters from the sides. We open the end and hot air will go up.
Еще?
Bearing capacity is 29% higher in statics and dynamics. The working day begins before dawn. 7 a.m. We are going to our one rather interesting object that we are building, and now the installation of the film cover begins there. I think it will be interesting. So we got to the object where now the most difficult process is already beginning. This is directly covering the greenhouse with film. In order to cover the greenhouse, we need to have a complete calm, that is, if the wind is already more than 1.5 meters per second, then we can no longer cover the film, because you understand how much sail there is. Consider 16 by 80 meters, this is more than 1,500 square meters. This is a dome, and imagine if the wind gets in there, what will happen, that is, these guys will fly away to the nearest village, so there must be absolute calm. It can usually be caught, that is, there are also certain modes. In principle, it is optimal in the early morning, but now it is not quite early morning, but in principle, now finally, the calm has come, because the previous 4 days there was a rather strong wind. In general, that is, the last 2 weeks are famous for strong winds. Covering part. The installers are feeding in a part, the installers are catching the film. Well, let's not distract the guys. We'll move on to the next greenhouse. I'll tell you a little bit. Normally, that is, how it is covered. That is, first, the ends of the greenhouse are sewn up, and then the dome is covered. The nuance is that one time, so to speak, this is one of the mistakes, so you shouldn't do it that way. One of the first greenhouses we covered by first throwing the dome, and then started to sew up the ends. As a result, we got the following situation, when we covered it, that is, it was a small greenhouse, 8 by 20, when we covered the dome and started to put up the end, and the dome turned into something like a wind tunnel. Such a wind was created there that we sewed up the first end for 2 days, because really, that is, the wind, even a small flow that entered, it created such a flow that it was impossible to sew up the end. That is, we sewed up the first end for a long time, and the second end was generally, so to speak, hell, because we got a pocket and air was entering the pocket, and well, the end was actually shaking. We were worried that the whole greenhouse would fly away. Fortunately, it was again on concrete foundations, so the structure withstood. Therefore, considering these moments, remember, first the ends are sewn up, and then the dome is covered. When the end is stretched, we see that the film should be like a drum, that is, it should be very tight. And all the sharp parts that may be, you see, they are all closed, sealed so that when the film plays, that is, it should not cut. Therefore, the end is sewn up quite well. This is the first thing, and the second thing is, we recommend making doors and vents from polycarbonate. Why from polycarbonate? Well, firstly, it's tougher. Secondly, people always bump into doors and vents. If there's a film here, it will simply tear over time. All moving elements are better to be sheathed with polycarbonate, they will give rigidity. We go inside. The guys are now pulling in the film, that is, the nuance is when pulling in the film so that we don't have sharp corners. When the film is pulled, imagine what weight it has. If there are sharp parts, that is, it cuts the film immediately, so before pulling, check that you don't have sharp corners. And we are inside the greenhouse, our structure. That is, we have even walls on both sides. That is, side ventilation will be installed here, and this allows opening the sides along the entire length, and accordingly, air enters from the sides. We open the end, and hot air will go up. Here is our design, that is, thanks to the rigging group. In principle, these are designs. Why we make them in the form of trusses, that is, trusses have a very good load-bearing capacity, that's one thing. Secondly, it is quite convenient to install various equipment in these trusses, that is, due to the rigging group, it is very convenient to hang lighting here, it is convenient to install heating. That is, this is a profile pipe, it is convenient to attach anything to it, as they say. It's one thing to screw a self-tapping screw into a round pipe, and quite another thing into a square one, that is, it's two. Well, in a square pipe, you understand that its load-bearing capacity is higher. A square pipe compared to a round pipe, that is, of the same cross-section, that is, has a bearing capacity 29% higher in statics and dynamics. It's practically the middle of February. A little further. We went inside, the temperature, as you can see, is really plus 5 if not more. We covered the dome, threw on the film, and in principle, the process is moving. The covering is going quite well. The main thing is that there is no wind, that's what we've been waiting for 4 days because, well, it's really like sailors waiting for the wind, and we, on the contrary, are waiting for there to be no wind, so that we can cover ourselves, because the previous 2 weeks there was a very strong wind.
Пошла на меня свободной походкой. Нога от бедра свободная.
Записує.
Хоть до половины дошли.
Що?
И что ж там на обед? О, уже закипает.
Да, хотя бы расстояние 8 метров. Только на стойке не ставь. Я Да, нам не пошел.
Не-не-не, мне нормально.
Ныряй.
Саня, смотри, только угол не подойди.
Я понял. Еще разок. Давай.
Центральний руль.
If you want to start a greenhouse business, the main thing is to start. The road will be mastered by the walking, live in harmony with nature and in the rhythm of progress.